For the purposes of the Mental Capacity Act 2005, in deciding what is in a person's best interest, the person making the decision must consider a number of factors, including the person's past and present wishes and feelings, the beliefs and values that would be likely to influence his decision if he had capacity, the other factors that he would be likely to consider if he were able to do so. In this film, we focus on the meaning of values, including how practitioners' own values can affect the way they approach cases. This training builds on a research project that included interviews with legal practitioners and retired judges. These are some of the things they said about values.
It's relatively easy to understand people's wishes and feelings, but understanding their values is much more subtle.
I think maybe one of the challenges with arguments about values is that they're not as easily defined as wishes and feelings.
I think we are missing such a lot in what people's values are, what their wishes and feelings are. All of that comes through communication.
It's often the case that family members can throw a lot of light on this.
Hello, I'm Alex Rakeen, I'm a barrister, and I'm joined today by Emily Church, a legal executive, and Ian Brownhill, another barrister, and what we're going to be looking at and what we're going to be exploring today is how we make values matter in the court of protection. So the Mental Capacity Act talks about having to think about someone's wishes and feelings and also the beliefs and values that would influence their decision if they had capacity to make it. So in your mind, how did the two sit together? So we've got wishes and feelings and beliefs and values. Can you sort of walk me through how those two packages interact?
So for me, wishes and feelings is something which is within a moment. For me, values and beliefs is something which informs that decision-making process, either in the past or now.
So Emily, the same question to you. So thinking, if the Act tells us, you have to think about someone's wishes and feelings, and you also have to think about the beliefs and values which would influence their decision if they had capacity. I mean, I'm just interested, because the Act doesn't say how we're supposed to do this, how do you what mental picture do you have of how you get those two bits to sort of sit together?
Yeah, I think for me, wishes and feelings is something really current, really immediate, whereas I consider the values and beliefs to be the reasons behind those things and our own personal judgment of how we live our lives.
Can someone's values shift? I mean, if the value is who you are, is that kind of fixed for all time, or and I sort of get, how does that track through? Do you want to take first run at that, Emily?
Yeah, I mean, just off the top of my head, it feels to me like they're much, much harder to shift. I guess it depends on your experiences and the things that happen in your life, but I think wishes and feelings can be much more fleeting, whereas values and beliefs, less so.
So Ian, I mean, just thinking through this, if we've got this idea that values might in some way be, neither of you use this word, but I'm going to use it, deeper than wishes and feelings. I mean, are someone's values going to be effectively immutable? Or is there, on what circumstances might we be thinking, well, hang on a minute, this person's values might have changed?
So I'm going to make it even more complicated because actually I would say that what's more likely to happen is someone's beliefs are more likely to change, but someone's values are less likely to change. The easiest way of explaining it is that values can change. So there are people who, for example, will value family above all else. And then if something catastrophic happens or there's a catastrophic breach of trust, that value will go out of the window very quickly. Mm-hmm. And so often I would say that values aren't immutable, but they are something that requires a great deal of force to shift out of somebody's psyche, or decision-making process probably is a better way of describing it.
I think in my work, I quite often try to take myself out of a case to make it to not make it personal, to try and put my values to one side and just be the voice for that person who's lost capacity. But I think you also have to have an awareness that your values are so integral to everything you do and how you think about everything. You probably always come to a case with preconceived ideas and really subconscious ones maybe. So you obviously can't really put those to one side, but you just have to have that constant awareness that they're there and keep on sort of reevaluating how you're approaching the person who's lost capacity.
Help me understand and help other people understand, well, how a family is going to be important in terms of establishing someone's value base.
Well, they know that the person in question, the person who's lost capacity, most of the time they know them really well. They have all of the background, all of the big things that have happened in their lives. They can provide some insight. And I think also it's all the little things as well. It's not just the big life events, the really obvious things. I think families are really important for just talking about who this person is, who they were. And I do think photos are a really interesting tool, not just for prompting memories for the person who's lost capacity, because they're often really good for that, but also, you know, asking a family member to select some photos that's sort of sum up someone's life, and you could talk through them, and it could be a bit, you know, less of a questionnaire and less scripted, and more just asking family members to talk about, you know, what was happening in this photo, where was the person then, just to make it a more informal discussion.
Yeah,
I think might be really helpful.
I mean, how often have you encountered a situation where you're not 100% sure that what the family is relaying, or what the family is relaying is the family's conception of the person? I mean, I'm sort of interested in that because, I mean, obviously talking to the family, but it's that I'm just interested in the, you know, the kind of the antennae you have jangling when you're talking to the family members.
Yeah, in my experience, most of the time, the family members I deal with are really supportive and they want to engage as much as possible. I don't think I've ever been concerned that a family member has any kind of ulterior motive or they're putting their own values to the forefront. I've never really experienced that.
So, yeah, I've had sort of strange experiences of it in various different contexts. I've had scenarios whereby families present a unified set of values. This is our set of values as a family. Therefore, this is what P would have wanted. And I struggle with that. I struggle with various different approaches in various different cases. Again, it either tends to be born out of a family's religious belief or a family history or a particular perception of family history. So our family has always lived in this place. Our family has always done this occupation. Our family has always wanted to remain doing something or being something. And when you have this sort of family brand, it can be difficult to then chip away as to P as an individual. So I agree, families are a great source of trying to ascertain someone's values and beliefs, but there can be a sort of overlay at times of a brand or a sort of group identity rather than an individual identity.
Have you either of you had cases where doing the case and either talking to the person or the eventual outcome of the decision or the process of getting a decision has actually made you reflect on your own values? So maybe Emily first.
Yeah, I don't think a case has ever made me sort of question my values. I think they're quite difficult to shift, aren't they? So integral, your own values. But I think it's made me think really, really carefully about my approach. And I wonder if actually, just in this discussion today, maybe it's something I should do more, try and reflect on my own values. I mean, we have to police our values, don't we? We have to, you know, going into a case so often all the evidence is stacked against P's wishes and feelings, and we have to keep on reflecting and rejecting that starting point. Because I think it's such a privileged position to be in, to be able to speak on behalf of someone who can't express themselves as well as we can. And yeah, I think constant reflection is really important. I think it's probably something we should all try and do more as much as possible.
So thank you so much, both of you. That was a really nuanced and a really fascinating discussion. So thank you very much indeed. So a lawyer now demonstrates seeking to explore a person's values, both with that person themselves and with a member of that person's family. And in this film, the lawyer has already had the chance to meet the person, meet the member of the family, and has had time to seek to establish a rapport with them. And of course, in real life, it might not just be from family members that values can be gleaned, but also from others such as friends and carers.
Hello, my name's Ian Brownhill. I'm a barrister at 39 Essex Chambers. And today I'm going to be speaking to Bronte and her dad, Guy Watt, about learning about values and how we use values when it comes to doing cases in the Court of Protection. So, hello Bronte.
Hello.
We met slightly earlier today.
Yeah.
And And we know that today we're here to talk about you. So there are no wrong answers at all.
Yeah.
There's nothing to worry about. And if you don't like my question or you want to answer a different question, you can do. It's no problem at all. And don't worry about all the cameras around us and everything else. All right? Yeah. So the first question I was going to ask was if you could just tell me a bit about yourself.
My name's Bronte and I like doing like all arts and crafts things, and I also like working in a cafe.
So what type of arts and crafts do you do?
I like doing drawing.
Okay.
Sometimes I've got a book on like anime stuff,
Yeah.
and I like to draw stuff from there. And I've also got one that's like a Disney one that I like to draw all the Disney characters from as well.
Okay, so you're going to have to tell me now, which is your favourite Disney character?
Probably like Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I have just watched Encanto for the first time. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I liked it.
I think the music's really good.
Yeah.
And my favourite Disney film is Hercules. Have you seen Hercules? Which Disney film don't you like?
Probably Finding Nemo.
Okay.
Because of the because when I was younger, the man, like the sea person that comes into the water scared me.
Okay.
And then I've not liked it since
Ever?
then.
No. I don't like Bambi because of the
Yeah.
start of Bambi. I think
Yeah.
that's really scary.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. You obviously have a job. You've got hobbies. You told me about Disney. What matters most to you in your life?
But what do you mean by that? Is that?
So, if you wake up in the morning and you clean your teeth, you have your breakfast, what excites you about the day? What do you look forward to doing?
Like maybe like going and meeting my friends or seeing different people if I like meet new people, or when I'm out and about with them and stuff.
Yeah. And do you like to go to different places with them?
Yeah.
In terms of being with your friends, are there any limits? Are there places you're not allowed to go or anything like that? Or can you go wherever you like, whenever you like?
I can go wherever I like, whenever I like, I think.
And can you meet whoever you like and talk to whoever you like?
I think so.
Okay. How would you feel if someone said to you, you can't meet with your friends anymore?
I would hate it. It would make me feel really sad and like bad as well.
So you've got your friends, you've got your family, you've got the people you work with and the people who come into the cafe and things like that. Who is it that you admire the most? Who's your hero?
Oh.
Do you have a hero?
No, don't know.
So we were talking a little bit earlier about Disney, and we were talking about Disney characters and stuff. There's quite a few Disney characters I really like. So my favourite Disney character is quite close, is either Pumbaa or Timon from The Lion King. And the reason why they're my favourite is because I think they're the bravest characters in the whole of Disney, because they're little compared to all the big animals that can effectively come along and eat them, but they're there for their friends. So that's why I think they're the best Disney characters. Which Disney character do you think you admire the most, or we talked about Sleeping Beauty earlier. Are there any characters in particular who you really like?
Probably like in Sleeping Beauty, it's probably like the fairies, like Flora, the fairy, like those.
And what about Flora the Fairies do you like?
I like how she's can be towards all the other, like how her attitude is towards like the other fairies and like towards Sleeping Beauty herself.
Tell me a bit more. What do you mean by her attitude? What is it about her attitude?
How she can help her out better than the others.
Okay. And how is it in respect of her in Sleeping Beauty? What is it about them that you like?
I'm not sure.
It's quite hard to put into words, isn't it? Sometimes why you dislike people or why you like people. One of the things I was going to ask you was, which of the Disney characters do you dislike the most? So I really don't like Ursula from The Little Mermaid. And I don't like Ursula from The Little Mermaid because she wants to steal other people's talent for herself. So I dislike her. I don't like her at all. So is there somebody in the world of Disney that you don't like very much?
Probably don't like the evil godmother from Rapunzel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And what don't you like about her?
The fact that she's controlling of Rapunzel and won't let her go out to where she wants to go to.
Yeah.
It won't let her out the castle or anything.
So Rapunzel effectively just gets locked up somewhere. She can't see anybody. She can't do everything she wants to do, and she wants to be free. So what is it about Rapunzel's stepmother or godmother, I'm not quite sure which one it is, what is it you don't like about her?
That she won't let Rapunzel out of the castle because she thinks that she will get hurt by the other people outside of the castle that are trying to get to her.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like there's places you can't go and things you can't do? No. When you were young, sometimes our parents disagree with us about what we want to do with our friends. How would you feel if your friends wanted you to go on holiday somewhere, like Newquay in Cornwall, okay? And your parents said they don't want you to go on holiday to Newquay in Cornwall. How do you think that would make you feel?
Sad, because obviously I've been given the opportunity to go away on holiday with my friends, but then they're saying that I can't go.
And
then it won't, and then it feels like I won't have much confidence in myself anymore if they wanted to go with them but then couldn't go with them.
So what would you do? Would you talk to your parents about it? How would you approach it?
I'll probably talk to them about it and about how I feel about the way they've said that I can't go when I want to go.
And ultimately, so at the end of the day, would you do what your parents wanted or what your friends wanted or what you wanted? What do you think you'd do?
Probably what my parents wanted.
Okay. And do you know why that is?
Probably because I wouldn't want to disappoint them or something by not doing what they told me to do and like going against their ways of telling me how to do something.
So does what your parents think matter to you?
Yeah.
And do you worry about disappointing them? Would you like to go on holiday with your friends?
Yeah.
And what do you think your mum and dad would say about that?
They'll probably say that I should do it because it would like give me more confidence to go out and do something without them. Because like at the moment I'm doing everything with them because I don't want to go away from them and not do things without them.
Okay. And so would you talk to your mum and dad about what it would be like on holiday? Would you talk about, would you make plans with your parents or would you make plans with your friends, do you think?
Probably make plans with my parents first and see what they think we could do and then go to my friends and talk, and then like say what my parents have said to me to them, and then see what they think about the ideas as well.
It was so lovely meeting you today. Thank you for coming. And I'm now going to have a chat with your dad.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So having met Bronte this morning, I'm now meeting her father, Guy, and we're going to talk to him about assessing the values and getting to know people and their values when decisions are made for people within the Court of Protection. So Guy, it's lovely to meet you this morning and lovely to meet your daughter. And I understand first time that you've ever done anything like this in particular.
Yes.
Is it the first time anyone's ever had a discussion with you about finding out Bronte's values and what she believes in?
Primarily, yes, it will be.
Okay. Growing up with Bronte, what sort of conversations have you had with professionals about what she wants in the future or what she hopes for?
Well, it helps that my wife and I both work within very close professions to care and support. My wife's a community nurse, and at the moment I work as an advocate. So we've always, both of us have always had people in mind and worked with people.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit easier, but then equally a little bit harder, because you see things that you think, I don't want that to be wrong for Bronte.
If I was going to ask you to describe Bronte's values and what matters to her the most, what do you think you'd say to that?
I think it matters that she feels safe. Matters that she knows that we're there for her if she needs to be there. We're going through a period at the moment where we've got a family pet who's not very well.
Oh.
And he's probably in his last few months. Is it her dog? And I think that is probably adding to her stress.
Yeah.
She needs to, I think like everybody, she needs to know that she's wanted and needed. And certainly within her circle of friends and work, she is a very much a needed and wanted person.
Yeah.
So, and she, although she works on a voluntary basis, she will go to work. She's actually more rigid about going to work than my other daughter, who complains about having to go to work. She will go and work. She worked on Good Friday because the person that she was working with needed some help. So she was quite happy to go along. And actually, I mean, that's given her the friendship group that you would expect and most people would have within their work environment. She's not excluded from that. So although it would be really nice if she was in paid employment, she gets all the benefits of being employed without the financial benefit.
I posed the suggestion to her, which is your group of friends decide that they want to go on holiday to Newquay in Cornwall. What would you do? I suppose again, what do you think she said?
It's a good question. I'm going to go with, she said she wouldn't go.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Because I think it would be a step too far at the moment.
Okay.
If she'd asked me whether she could go to Newquay, if she comes and says, Dad, I want to go with my friends to Newquay, then I would have that conversation with her and check that she was aware of where it was, what she was going to do, and that she felt comfortable, that she knew that, I mean, again, in the world we live in now, it's a different world to when I was a child.
Yeah.
She can call us, she's got her own phone, so, she can call, She can FaceTime us. So I'd want her to know that if she was going, if there was any problems, anything that happened that she was unhappy with, that she could get in touch with us.
So one of the things she said to me is that she'd want to talk to you about it first, but she'd probably want to go with her friends.
Okay, good.
So I think that's positive, perhaps. I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah. We as parents, we would never stop her from doing what she wanted to do. Mm-hmm. We would always encourage her to explore where those boundaries are.
Yes.
Explore what is around that corner, and make sure that she doesn't just say no. I don't want to go because I'm fearful of it. Mm-hmm. And again, we would always encourage her to take those risks. My initial response was, I don't think she would go.
Yeah.
But I would then counter that by saying that I would encourage her to take that risk. I would encourage her to go.
What sort of advice and tips do you have for solicitors and barristers in respect of getting to know their clients and getting to know their values and beliefs?
Across the way, there's a coffee bar and a sandwich bar.
Yes.
Say, instead of meeting you in the office, we're going to have a coffee, a glass of juice.
Yeah.
And meet in an environment that is on, albeit your environment of safety is going to be either in here or in a court, because that's an environment that you feel comfortable in, that you understand it. Mm. When you take somebody who maybe has never seen a barrister before and sit in front of them and say, right, I want to find out what you want, what your needs and wishes are, the chances are you're going to come away from that not really knowing, and possibly to a point you're going to have to make your own decisions and then say to Bronte at some point, is this what you want? Whereas if you took her to Prestamanger, you said, oh yeah, I like Disney, let's go and have a look at the Disney shop, and found the nearest one to where you are, and you had a conversation with her as you're walking down the street, you're going to get to know who and what Bronte is.
In real life, it's a different situation because I step in at probably the worst moment in someone's life. So they might be in a hospital bed, they may be somewhere they don't want to be, something might be happening to them they don't want to happen. And so today was actually in a sense easier, even though it was on camera. It was more relaxed, there was less pressure from being in the moment in that sort of dramatic scene. Talking about values is generally quite an abstract thing. So no matter someone's ability to talk and to communicate, asking them to express their values in very simple terms is very difficult. And in circumstances like today, you have to be able to build rapport with somebody quickly and establish a means of framing those discussions about values. I think using hypotheticals is something I've always been scared about, because the person who you're talking to isn't necessarily going to have that frame of reference in their life. They may not have experienced it. But today was a really good example of how hypotheticals can work, especially when they're forward-looking. So we talked about the possibility of a holiday, but they were hypotheticals which were grounded in someone of Bronte's age and life experience. So they weren't things that were completely alien to her. I think my own values probably came across in the sense to Bronte because I gave away something of myself. So you heard me establish rapport with Bronte. I explained to her about my favourite and my least favourite Disney characters. And you probably saw in that something about my own values that you're able to take away. So yes, the only thing I would say about my own values and how I present someone's wishes and feelings is that I need to always caution myself that I am there to present a case about what somebody else believes, what they value, and what they're feeling about a particular decision and what they want to happen, it's not always going to be the same as what I want. And it's difficult as a professional to sometimes divorce yourself from what that person wants and what they believe in their life experience, but you have to.
So we've seen a round table exploring how lawyers are thinking about values between themselves. We've seen how a lawyer seeks to explore the values of the person with the person themselves and then trying to triangulate that with a person close to that individual. And then we've seen a lawyer trying to reflect back on that process. All of this together is designed to help us think through how we can really start to embody reflexivity when we're thinking about how we make someone's values matter before the court of protection. So in some ways, the most important aspect of reflective practice is an awareness of our own values. We've all got our own values and they all impinge on how we make decisions. Reflexivity means being aware of that and being aware of how that impinges on your thinking when you're working with an individual whose values are going to be in some way the subject of consideration by the court. So how you communicate with the person, how you pose questions to them to help you explore their values is also really important. And we'd really urge you to watch the film that we've also produced about communication and participation, which is available on YouTube. Separately, there are a set of resources produced by the Advocates Gateway to help lawyers communicate with individuals with different types of need. Thank you very much indeed for watching this film.